and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you've joined us for the Clean Energy and Renewables Conference. The next presentation of the day is from Hillcrest Energy Technologies. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Don Curry, Founder, Chief Executive Officer, and Director of Hillcrest Energy Technologies, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol HLRTF and on CSE under the symbol HEAT. Welcome back, Don.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. We really appreciate it. We'd like to welcome current shareholders and new people that are looking at Hillcrest as a potential investment opportunity. So we'll take advantage of the 25 minutes here, and hopefully we can properly illustrate why we're so excited about what we have. Our forward-looking statement, a necessary evil, as we like to say in any presentation. Bottom line, very simply put, we are redefining what's possible in power conversion. And power conversion, as a very easy explanation, would be the type where you're taking direct current to alternating current to direct current, a solar panel to the grid. So almost every electrical system in the world has power conversion. It's you have to have inverters involved at various levels. We're at a higher power level. We are the only people that we're aware of that has commercial prototypes and able to demonstrate zero voltage switching or soft switching in power conversion. And simply put is that zero voltage switching is higher efficiency, and efficiency is the key word you're going to hear in almost every electrification conversation. So higher efficiency, we eliminate switching losses, we have better thermal control, and it's perfect, a lower EMI, electrical magnetic interference, and it is applicable across the spectrum, whether it's in traction, which would be EV, or stationary, which would be grid, solar, that sort of thing. The inverter market is growing very, very, very quick. It's not a fad. It's growing just under 19% per year. 209 billion is the estimate market by the year 2032. The investment highlights and the things that we're most very, very excited about is that we have near-term catalysts. So we're approaching the stationary or the grid market with a 200 kilowatt zero voltage switching grid power conversion system. And our prototype, we can already simulate, our prototype will be ready for demonstration in Q2 of this year. And it can be demonstrated across the spectrum to any application, as we talked about before. We say it's 180 billion combined addressable market by 2030, and I just mentioned 209 billion by 2032. The 7 core applications in grid or stationary: data centers, energy storage, industrial electrification, microgrids, so on and so forth. These are all very, very large, very topical commercial opportunities for the company. And we're doing this in alignment with, for the data centers, for instance, in the Open Compute project. So the Open Compute is for data centers, and companies like Meta are involved in that. And they're going to where they want to be in an 800 volt data center architecture. We're going to where the industry is going to. We're not putting ourselves into a position where we're just competing with what companies are already at. We're going and addressing where the needs are in the future. We have very, very strong, in our opinion, strong commercial momentum. EV traction inverter, we started out a couple of years ago focusing on the EV and traction. We have a commercial prototype which has been validated in numerous European, German, and Formula One, Formula E facilities, in their own facilities. We've taken it, put it on their test bench. We've had demonstrations. They've done the demonstrations and tests themselves. We've even gone so far as to have it tested in a third-party certified lab for electrical magnetic reduction. Have that tested and proven. Recently, we were very pleased to announce Otmar Bitcha. He joined as our European business development person. Otmar was just recently with the former director of e-mobility with Porsche. And he was the person that led the team that built 800-volt infrastructure in the EV division in Porsche. As a matter of fact, you can see it on the road now as in the model as the Taycan. So very, very pleased, and we'll get into Otmar and some other people coming down the road, but that's a very big addition to our team. We recently announced an industrial MOU, which was executed for our ZVS inverter to be developed in advanced materials processing. So as I've mentioned, it can be used in many, many different areas. There's an industrial use that is in the process. The company itself is in the process of planning and constructing 6 plants over the next 3 to 4 years. They see our technology as something that's very, very, very advantageous to what they're doing, and there'll be more information coming out on that in the very near future. And we also announced in January, which was a very big month for us, a $3 million strategic investment from Pasqua First Nations for commercialization and Canadian manufacturing of our product. Pasqua First Nations, we've aligned ourselves with Indigenous opportunities in Canada, and it's opened up many, many, many doors for us. The grid prototype. We've chosen a 200 kilowatt, 1000 volt DC or 1000 volt infrastructure. It's a power conversion system. The key to it, and I mentioned this at the very beginning, is efficiency. Everybody's looking for efficiency. What is the difference between what's out there now and what we have is that the zero voltage switching eliminates switching losses. So it's a much more pure signal as it goes forward. Our efficiency is one of the highest that we're aware of. We're over 99%, 99.7 in traction, 99% in grid. And that efficiency comes without negative trade-offs because of the lower EMI involved in it, electromagnetic interference. We have high efficiency without having to protect against a very high EMI. The smaller filters that are involved in our process, because the signal's that much smoother or the sine waves are that much smoother, is that there's smaller components resulting in smaller costs. So a smaller unit, smaller costs, we think we can be very, very competitive to meet at least what people are currently paying or slightly below it. Superior power quality, scalable architecture. So combining this 200 kilowatts, they're units. And so if you go into a megawatt, facility and they're looking for 1 megawatt, 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts, what they do is they build racks, and you're putting these 200 kilowatts in. 5 200 kilowatt units equal a megawatt. And so this is scalable. It's easily swap in, swap out. It protects against, it gives you redundancy, protects against downtime. The lower EMI. We were not really focused on EMI when we first started this project, and you learn a lot by dealing with various customers. What we found out later is that while efficiency is number one, EMI was an issue that was probably a close second. And the electromagnetic interference, like I say, we have a lower electromagnetic interference such that people don't have to pay to protect against, don't have to use shielding should they choose not to. And reliability and extended lifespan is just another byproduct, positive byproduct of what we're selling. The ZVS, the PCS 1000, that's a power conversion system, the 200 kilowatt that I was talking about. There are 7 core applications that we're focusing on and are being well received with people that we're reaching out to. So a very large focus, primary focus for us is data centers. Data centers are front and center in almost every jurisdiction in the world at this point in time. And there's many levels for data centers. So all the way from Google to AI to crypto, you have just a robust market that's growing in leaps and bounds. Efficiency is number one. Control of power is something that they have. Access to power. So if we have no switching losses and we can produce better continuous power, then we've indicated that there's approximately $375,000 of savings for every 100,000 square feet that a data center might have using our technology. So there's a benefit, lower cost entry, and savings of costs going forward. The 200 kilowatt modules, again, as I mentioned, are very beneficial. Right now, a lot of the data centers are using 140 kilowatts. We're going to the 200 kilowatts and 1,000 volts, again, following the Open Compute project. Commercial, industrial, and loading, remote, community, and microgrids. We have been talking to microgrid companies, which is applicable not only to remote communities, but also to in the defense sector, in many, many sectors that you're talking about smaller scale microgrids that are put onto put in areas such as military bases, so on and so forth. So there's a real application there. Construction and infrastructure, the MOU that I just talked about, military forward operating bases. I mentioned that we're talking there, and then commercial facility backup. All of these sectors have a need. All of these sectors are looking to stay ahead of the curve, and all of these sectors are looking for better efficiency and lower cost. Again, using a data center as a focus, because it's front and center in almost every story that you see. The 800-volt architecture alignment that we're using is based on the Open Compute project. We want to have our technology be where people are going, not where they are right now. There's no sense trying to compete or be in a place that has to have revision very soon down the road. So we're going where the market is going. Efficiency at scale. Why is efficiency so important? Well, 0.5% of efficiency can mean a lot in a data center. So 0.5% it avoids about 500 kilowatts versus conversion losses in a 100 megawatt facility. So it's very, very, very large. And these people, the pennies become dollars. And so they're looking for this. And we think we've addressed that solution. It's a perfect building block. I've mentioned about how the racks, we can go up to megawatts by using multiple of the 200 kilowatts. And that's how the system works. The redundancy and hot swap capabilities. If an inverter goes down or a power conversion system has issues, you're simply swapping out a unit and putting another unit in. The data center power market, it's up to 50 billion by 2030. So again, we're pursuing environments or opportunities or sectors that are growing substantially as we develop the project. The traction inverters. As I said, we spent a couple of years working on the traction industry. Right now, the traction industry is, I'll use the word paralyzed. Maybe it's not that severe, but they've slowed down a lot because, as you might have noticed, almost all the automotive makers said that they were going to be 100% electric by 2025 or 2027. Now they're talking about models being electric by 2027, 2028, and so on and so forth. So the industry itself has slowed down substantially. What we were able to do is demonstrate the effectiveness of our technology and the value that may be able to be used by OEMs and tier one suppliers. We have announced previously a two-phase development deal with one of the tier one suppliers that was looking to become the first to have zero voltage switching on their inverter platform. So the first phase was very successful, completed at the end of 2025, where we showed that our technology worked with the power modules that they were working with, their hardware that they were working with, and we're waiting for them to move forward on phase two. When they're ready, we're ready. We've had it tested on test benches with the German automotive in their facilities, and as I say, certified third-party labs for the EMI, and with some very, very, very well-known European sports cars, a Formula E facility in Europe, as well as a Formula One facility. It's all been demonstrated. And I've used the phrase many times, but in each case where we did a demonstration, we either met or exceeded expectations. So we're very happy that outside influence has given us the confidence that our technology has value, and we'll wait for the industry. We're still open with the industry, but we're waiting for the industry to come back and be able to sign. That is where someone like an Otmar Bitcha is very, very important to us. By bringing Otmar in, we've taken the business model by bringing in people with industry knowledge, success, experience, who would represent the technology and open up doors that we might not necessarily be able to open up ourselves. Otmar is aware of the technology, has an ability to see the technology, and has the ability to open up doors and carry on conversations that we might not be able to do directly ourselves. He can speed up the process. The value across the automotive, the technology is such that you can technically reduce the battery pack by up to 10%. DC link capacitors, again, size is smaller. The EMI is more pronounced in automotive than it is on the grid, for lack of a better way of saying more pronounced, in that car manufacturers right now are putting shielding around cables, and that's to protect against EMI from current hard switching inverters, and around battery boxes. Well, they don't, based on the test results we've had in the third-party lab, they do not need that shielding around the cables. They can make the decision not to put the shielding around the cables around the battery box, saving dollars per for every car produced. So there's a value to them for that. Commercial priorities, we have strong momentum in Europe. We've been spending a lot of time over there. We have a very valued partner, Systematic GmbH, Harold Hengstenberger. They've been developing the hardware part of it in Vancouver. We've been developing the firmware part of the EV traction inverter. And together we've been able to open up some doors. We were invited to BorgWarner Pitch Day last September, where we met with the C-suite, talked all about the value. And BorgWarner invites companies that they're interested in, have already worked with, or are interested in working with, or already have an agreement with. We were very well received there. We believe that whether it's a tier one supplier, which is a company that is going to sell product to the automotive manufacturers, or an automotive manufacturer, we've been able to open doors and be talking to the right people. In this process, while we've been going forward with it, one of the things that we did not really pursue was onboard charging. Our technology technically could lead to the elimination of an onboard charger in a car, yet that's not going to happen very quickly. We have no less than 5 companies that have been talking to us about implementing our technology into their current onboard chargers. And we've been able to demonstrate that the efficiency gains that could happen with that. And we're actively in conversations with companies regarding the onboard chargers, which is quite an interesting program for us, because we don't have to, that's the same type of thing as what we were doing with the tier one. We don't have to build an onboard charger. We just have to show our technology can be implemented into their onboard chargers. Joint development opportunities, I've just explained. And then Otmar Bitcha, again, has been a real good addition to our current team. Strategic indigenous collaboration. One of the things that was very, very good for us in the last half of 2025, we were able to align ourselves with Pasqua First Nations and Apiran Resources. Apiran Resources is a Canadian-based company based in Alberta that puts indigenous and non-indigenous groups together for business purposes. Pasqua First Nations is a very well-known indigenous group in Saskatchewan that has metal manufacturing. They're involved in the electrification industry. They're involved in a very large 200 megawatt wind project in Saskatchewan. So they have knowledge of what technology can do. They've turned into a very, very, very good partner, both of them. Pasqua invested heavily into Hillcrest, is about an 18% shareholder in our company right now. And with them, we've been able to now start opening doors to federal and provincial opportunities, both business-wise, grant-wise, funding-wise. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be meeting with provincial and federal regulators again over the next 2-3 weeks. Meetings have been set. So a very, very good, positive relationship between ourselves and Pasqua and Apiran. Made in Canada, ZVS Power Conversion Products. I just realized we're talking in the United States, so we say Z, you would say ZVS down there. Pilot testing and domestic manufacturing capabilities exist right up here. And then 10 million in non-dilutive funding target from various government sources. We've been talking to provincial and federal government officials, applications, submissions, and how grants or loans can be provided to us. Intellectual property, we're asked about it all the time. We have a very robust and growing intellectual property. It's a defense of multiple IP layers, prevent competitive replication. Licensing revenue, we have a multi-level business model that we're able to do. Again, we can sell a product, we can sell the microcontroller, we can license product, we can do whatever we want. Market leadership, we're not aware of anyone at this power level that has what we have, and thus the conversations are quite robust and quite a few of them. Scalable platform, core IP applies across multiple product categories, which I indicated before. And the ZVS facilitates compliance with tightening efficiency and performance standards. So power is a very big commodity at this point in time, and the less power required or the stretching of the power used is a big thing for the companies we're talking to. We're a public company listed on the CSE. Our main listing, CSE, HLRTF on the OTCQB. 196 million shares. We're about a 35 to $40 million Canadian market cap. And we have trading of approximately 300,000 shares per day. Just before I go into some questions, one of the things I briefly mentioned earlier is that we're trying to build a company as effectively and at the right cost as we possibly can. So we've added advisors, commercial consultants, people that have had industry experience and success in their various sectors. And it's been very, very profitable for us, or very valuable for us, to open up doors. Dan Coker built two $1 billion companies in automotive components. Dr. Burkhoff was part of senior management with Mercedes. Otmar Bitcher, we just mentioned, he's the team that built basically the 800-volt architecture for their e-mobility and the Taycan. And Nad Karim is Silicon Valley executive. So with that, that's a 20-minute, very quick explanation. We're excited about what we have. We have a technology that no one else seems to have. We have an industry. We have industries and sectors that are growing at light speed that have an interest in what we're doing. We have a commercial prototype on the EV, but the narrative really for us is the grid or stationary applications. We have a commercial prototype that's ready and is already under discussions with various people in various sectors in the stationary market. So with that, I'll start looking at some of the questions that have come in here. There's quite a few of them that have come in here, and okay. Sorry for. There's a question: how long until we get to hear about the grant money that will, and when will a formal announcement be made when it is received in a press release? The answer is, we're actively involved with various government entities. We're following their lead. We submit what we're requested to submit. We have conversations with them. We have meetings with them. And when the money comes in within that particular sector's budget, timeframe, so on and so forth. But I would expect that we would be seeing some substantial government dollars, whether they're loans, grants, or whatever structure, in 2026. Your IP portfolio shows 4 technology areas. How strong is the patent protection? We're quite comfortable for what we're getting as far as patent protection. We have very strong legal advisors, both on the application side and on the strategy side. So we follow the lead from what they're doing. We've done freedom to operate searches, which basically is a search to see if our patents infringe on other patents. What I can say at this point in time is we're quite comfortable that we have very, very good advisors and very good strategy protectionists. As data centers trend toward higher voltages and tighter EMI standards, in what ways do you believe tightening regulation and grid codes will increase the value of your technology over time and potentially widen our moat? Good question. Bottom line is that if we're already at this point in time ahead of the curve and addressing some of the issues that we believe are coming down the road, such as less EMI, tighter, smaller capacitors, so on and so forth, the elimination of switching losses, we're already going in a direction where regulation is maybe suggesting they're going to go, but will go. So I think we're addressing where the future is coming. And to the best of our knowledge, I think that there's a real value in that. And as things come along, we're small enough, but we can adapt quicker to any sort of future needs. What is the timeline to commercialization in each area? That's a very, very good question. It really comes down to the customer. Now, when it comes to the grid, we're talking about certification. So the certification can take anywhere from 3 months to 2 years. It all depends on how you're dealing and what you're dealing with and what part of the overall system are we as far as the certification. Our belief is that we're going to have approximately we'll have the commercial prototype to be able to demonstrate here at the end of Q2. We already have some demonstrations that we're talking to and lining up. And then from there, it's about what is the commercialization process dependent on the sector we're going to. So there is no firm what is the commercialization for each area. These are agreements that would be signed, that would be things along the lines of a development deal with execution milestones to lead to commercialization. That's how it works. And so we'll have, our intention is to be able to get these development deals, much like we did with the MOU and the industrial, have the milestones known, agreed, and then move towards towards the eventual commercialization of such. Update your European automotive sector. I think I've pretty much done that. We're very advanced as far as testing. We've done all we can. We've demonstrated all we can. We've proven our value. We're really looking now to have the conversations with the various companies to say, what is it you need, or what are your timelines to move forward? Electrification is not going away. It's just not as pronounced as it was in the automotive industry just a short time ago. So it's not going away. We have people at the table. We're having their discussions, but their time frame and their decision making is much slower than we're used to. Therefore, what I would suggest is that we're looking at about 80% of our time, 80%, 85% of our time is being focused on the grid and stationary. With the stock trading at a modest market cap relative to the $180 billion combined addressable market, you're targeting, how are you thinking about balancing near-term capital raises with the potential to re-rate the equity? The equity itself, we believe that the market will respond as we execute, as we come in with development deals, as we come in with MOUs, as we come in with the development of the product or of the technology. In the meantime, what we have is we're aggressively pursuing government backing, as we said. We're aggressively pursuing potential partnership models, licensing models, exclusive licensing models. If a company would come along, a tier one supplier is looking at wanting to have control of the traction market with our technology, we'd love to make an exclusive, limited exclusive deal with them. Also involved is that we have a large amount of warrants that are involved in the company, some equity that's involved in the company that are in the money at this point in time. We believe that a lot of those warrants will be taken down in the very near future, which will add to our treasury and allow us to continue on. We're looking to keep the financing or any sort of involvement in the company as non-dilutive as possible. We are a public company. Dilution will occur, but we're looking for equity or financial structures that allow for as little dilution as possible. We've only got a few more minutes here. One of the questions that came in, and we'll paraphrase it, is about our current programs. We've currently initiated some radio podcasts through Ellis Martin. We announced that we're having a research report done by Crystal Research, a New York-based firm that we're very, very excited about coming. That research report should be done here in about the next 3 to 4 weeks. They say 60 to 90 days. They started on January 15th. So by April 15th, it should be in our hands. And it's an independent report, which will be very, very good. And as well, we just announced the acquisition of the agreement with another IR group that we're working with that's building a base with broker subscriptions, so on and so forth. It's not about getting out there and advertising. It's about building a base and building a program as we go along. So we're trying to get the story out. We're trying to get new eyeballs on us. As we execute, we believe the growth will come. But we've got parties that are involved that we believe will be able to create the focus to more new eyes, including this sort of presentation. So we're quite excited about where the future comes. We're quite excited about what 2026 holds for us. We've gone from a research and development company to a development company, and now we're moving forward as we develop into commercialization. So first mover status in a growing market. We believe we're the only people in this with this technology. So we appreciate all your time and listening, and available at any time for further questions.